Adobe stock just reported earnings, and it does seem like investors are happy. After hours, the stock is up roughly 4.6% as I am recording. And on today's episode, what I want to do is take a closer look at that earnings report and kind of show why investors are excited right now. So let's get started. Before we go any further, I do believe it's good to understand how Adobe breaks down their business segments and classifications. Here we can see Adobe pretty much has three main markets. There is the Adobe Creative Cloud, and these are all the apps and cloud services that are helpful for the creative process. For example, Photoshop, Express, Premiere Pro, Photoshop Camera, and so much more. The list goes on and on. Here we do know that Adobe has a cloud subscription service, and that's one way they're able to make money from this segment. Then you guys might know Adobe mainly for its Adobe Document Cloud, and this is a lot of kind of the PDF formats, the PDF web services that they have in their arsenal to kind of provide for just single consumers, but also the business world. The final segment is one that I believe gets overlooked, and this is the Adobe Experience Cloud, which is mainly for businesses and enterprises. Here they have kind of a lot of data insights. They have ways to help with acquisition, to collect a lot of information for the business to do better. So they have numerous solutions here, and these are the three segments that Adobe provides solutions for. Now that we understand the three segments, let's take a closer look at the results. So Adobe did achieve revenue of $4.6 billion in the first quarter, which represents 9% year-over-year growth on a year-over-year basis. If we take a closer look at a constant currency, it would be more of a 13% year-over-year growth. In forms of their segment, we can see the digital media segment revenue was $3.4 billion. This is the biggest portion. It's divided into the two segments, the creative and the cloud. The creative was $2.76 billion, up 8%, and the document cloud revenue was $634 million, representing a 13% year-over-year growth. Next, if we take a closer look at their final one, which is their digital experience segment, that was $1.18 billion, representing 11% year-over-year growth, or 14% in constant currency. So we can see things are looking pretty healthy. And if one is wondering why our stock price is up so much after hours, roughly 4 or 5%, this is the reason. They do mention that Adobe drove record quarter one revenue, and they are raising their annual targets based on the tremendous market opportunities and continued confidence in their execution. So we can see they did give us an update where now they believe the digital media net new annual recurring revenue would be roughly about $1.7 billion this year. And last quarter, they mentioned that it was going to be roughly $1.65 million. So they did kind of increase their overall target. They do expect earnings per share on both a GAAP and non-GAAP basis to also increase roughly, I want to say 10%, 10 cents on GAAP basis on both the low end and the top end. So we can see Adobe is beating expectations. They are seeing great results, and they kind of gave confidence to investors that, hey, even though macroeconomics might be looking a little bit weak, the demand for their products are still super strong and not something that they are worried about. So might as well increase that guidance that they previously gave. Just a really quick look at the company's income statement. We can see subscription is the main form of revenue for this company. Out of that $4.6 billion in total revenue, roughly 4.4 came from subscription services. And overall, the company has amazing gross profit of roughly 4.1 billion. Margins here are insane. Before we go any further, I want to thank you for watching, and I need your help to reach my goal of 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you can do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and thumbs up. Also, if you want some fantastic insight into the semiconductor industry, join my other channel, Semiconductor Investing and More, where I use my electrical engineering background to break down the semiconductor market. Finally, I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for their subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode. Next, I wanted to take a closer look at this company's balance sheet to kind of make sure that, hey, they're still healthy, and that's definitely the case. We can see cash and short-term investments are roughly $5.6 billion for the company. That's great to hear, especially when you take a closer look at their liabilities. This company doesn't really have any debt in the short-term liabilities or current liabilities. Most of their total current liabilities is coming from deferred revenue, which is roughly $5.3 billion. Now, if we take a closer look at long-term liabilities, they do have about $3.6 billion in total debt, but I do want to say this company is pretty great in that cash and short-term investment, where if I was an investor, I would not worry about this company's balanced health right now, especially if we take a closer look at that cash flow. Net cash flow provided from operating activities this quarter was 1.7 billion. It was a bit slower than a year ago, but I do want to say with macroeconomics and inflation, I honestly expected this to drop a lot bigger than the actual drop it saw. So overall financial health, great. We also saw that improvement in future expectations. So things are looking good for the company's financial health and future outlook. So next I want to take a closer look at the company's Adobe Creative Cloud segment and the presentation here. They did mention that right now we are in this content creation and consumption market that continues to explode. And that overall is a huge driving force for this company segment. Again, remember, this creative revenue made up $2.76 billion of the company's total revenue. So Creative Cloud has huge tailwinds in it, especially as we continue to develop into the content creation market. But not only is the tailwind from existing products such a great excitement for the company, they also have new products. Some of the exciting new products that they are releasing are the beta releases for Character Animator. That seems pretty interesting. And obviously Adobe Podcast, which is going to be another software solution for editing and recording podcasts. So they are going in the right direction, especially in the creative market right now. We are seeing this huge transformation from video to audio. Outside of that, they're also focusing in a lot of Adobe's generative AI technology, and that's something that can overall help out their Creative Cloud solutions as well. So again, nothing too revolutionary here. You're not looking at a tech company that's producing a new product or new hardware, but they are focusing really strong in this Adobe Creative market, which I believe is the great move to make. Even though Adobe Document Cloud is a small portion, and again, nobody thinks of PDF as something revolutionary, Document Cloud revenue was $634 million, and it was still up 13% year over year. They do mention that they're still seeing strong conversion and retention rates of Acrobat mobile customers. They are seeing demand for Acrobat subscriptions across all customer segments, and they are generating new customer demand for Acrobat sign in small, medium businesses and in the mid-market. So, and finally, in the enterprise market, driving seat expansion across their business. So again, the PDF portion might seem very boring, but it continues to grow at a strong pace as well. Finally, with Adobe Experience Cloud, we did see that they are seeing success closing numerous transformational deals with large enterprises that are choosing Adobe to be their end-to-end CXM platform to drive personalization at scales. And they did mention a few companies that are kind of using Adobe Experience Cloud to kind of improve their customer experience. And this is happening across multiple geographies. The final thing I wanted to mention is Adobe is purchasing a nice amount of shares. This quarter, they repurchased roughly 5 million shares. They also mentioned that in quarter one, they entered into a 1.4 billion share repurchase agreement and currently have 5.2 billion remaining of their 15 billion authorization granted in December. So this company does have plenty of money to buy back shares. I think investors are going to be excited about that as well. Finally, I don't know where they mention it here, but just to kind of calm investors' mind. Oh, here we go. Adobe does not hold substantial assets or securities at Silicon Valley Bank or any regional bank. So again, Adobe, in my opinion, this is not a company where you're going to hear anything revolutionary, but results are definitely strong. We're still seeing a strong cash flow from operations. We're still seeing a healthy growth, even with the current macroeconomics. And we are seeing them release new products into that creative market, which I do believe will help the company grow their subscription base. I personally don't have an Adobe Creative subscription, but the more I see the new solutions that they're adding, the more reasons I ask myself, why don't I have one, especially as a content creator? And I'm pretty sure that's also going to be the take that other content creators are also saying. So I do believe there's growth opportunity here. This is a company that I personally don't own, like I mentioned, but it's one on my heavy watch list as I keep continuing to kind of shift and see what to add to my portfolio. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.